Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports, and you assumed you studied film of this race from last year. Did you watch the last lap? And if so, did it bring back any sort of emotions? And if so, what were they?
I mean, yes. I mean, it's just, it's disappointing from my standpoint. But I wasn't going to win the race anyway, had it not. You know, it's like I had about a 1 second period where I was supposed to win, and the other time I was not. So, you know, it wasn't like the race that I had here in 08 where we led the entire race and then you don't end up winning. Those are a little bit harder than the ones where it's like, I'm going to win. Oh, no, I'm not, right? So, yeah, it's just wild. It's wild how it all turned out when you kind of hear all the radio back. You know, now looking back on it, it was just a wild moment.
Hi, Denny. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service, and that kind of feeds right into where I was going, and that is with 2 races left to kind of settle this whole thing, do you expect the intensity and the craziness, for lack of a better word, to increase, or do you think at this point everything is so high intense anyway that it's not noticeable that, hey, the playoffs are coming, I've still got to get a spot?
Yeah, I don't really see a big change. You know, this is not really a big fashion-forward track when it comes to strategy. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you know, especially with the amount of tires that we've got. So, I don't really notice a big change in intensity. So, I mean, more desperation, perhaps. I mean, maybe, you know, someone that's, you know, been mid-pack is swinging for the fences with their setup, trying something just totally out of the box, hoping to hit something. But other than that, I can't really pinpoint to anything, except for at the end of races. Obviously, there's always going to be chatter when you're racing around those that have to win to get into the playoffs at this point of the season. You just know that those group of drivers are going to be more intense around you and make more aggressive moves and put you in, you know, pretty tough spots. And so that's where it really changes, is those late race restarts where that's their last and only attempt.
Kelly Racer.com. Denny, 2 things. First off, going back to what happened at the end of this race last year, afterwards there was, of course, a lot of conversation of fair versus foul, how NASCAR reacted, and if drivers knew what the line was. So a year later, do you feel like that kind of, did anything linger from that? Like, do you guys now know, like, does what happened last year, does that stick of how far that was? Was it too far, or did everybody just move on from it?
Yeah, I think that NASCAR drew a line in the sand, I think, and said that was too far. I think that they've been, you know, better about kind of, you know, drawing the line in the sand on certain things like the right rear hooks we've seen over the last year, them kind of drawing their line in the sand. They're not afraid to make hard decisions, and I think that's very, very important to just the governing of the sport in general, so it's not a circus. And so I do feel a little bit better about it now than what we did, you know, 12 months ago. I just feel as though certainly that was I think that was the first time we've seen something like that happen. And NASCAR then had a precedent to set in the sense of, what do you do from here? If you let that go, then you certainly open up just a floodgate of crazy things that could happen that would be bad for the relevance of the sport and the legitimacy of the sport. And so I think everyone probably has a little better understanding now because of the ruling. Not saying I agree with it or disagree, but it's certainly you have a better understanding.
Owen Johnson, Cupscene.com. Denny, just going back to that last lap last year, when you're racing against drivers who are desperate, like you put it, is there anything you can do from your end to kind of plan how you approach that final restart, or is it entirely out of your control?
No, you're always analyzing kind of who's around you, what lane you're in, what row you're in, the tendencies of the drivers that are around you, how many laps are left, all the things. I mean, it's just, you're constantly, it is very, very boring if you're watching on TV, but if you're in our heads and you heard everything that we were saying to ourselves during the course of these restarts or preparing for them, you would hear a lot of chatter. So it's we're always trying to analyze because it is so hard to get the advantage on these guys that continue to study this and get better and better at it.